Hi, I'm Katya. Welcome to RuGRETS, a show where I talk about all the things I wish I would have done differently in my life, especially on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7. What was that? I love your shake and go hair. Next time I just want to see a little more volume. Get your rat tail comb out, girl. Perfect. This episode is a gagger. Did you gag, Nancy? You gagged, didn't you? Oh, you gagged and you puked. Did you poop too? So at the end of last week's episode, when RuPaul says, I wonder if I made the wrong decision sending somebody home, we're like, I'm thinking Trixie's coming back. So when she walks through the workroom, no big surprise there. And to be perfectly honest, I'm thrilled because she should still be here anyways. Then everybody else walks through and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't know they had that kind of budget. They spent all their budget bringing everybody back just to send them all home again. You love that, Nancy, don't you? RuPaul explains that we are to be paired up with an eliminated queen and that we each have to come up with a conjoined twin look. How do you look, Nancy? You satisfied? Perfect. Mini challenge. Orange is the new black, or in my case, mattress is the new bed. LaGuardia, Newark, San Quentin. Kennedy wins the mini challenge. Latrice Royale walks through. Prior to meeting Latrice, I thought I was the sweatiest woman in show business, and I have the certificate to prove it. Do you have that certificate still? I'll email it to you. If she and I were to have a sweat off, I don't know, she might win. She came over to us in the workroom and she put down her baton and she sat on the table and she spread her legs and she insisted that we all crumple our outfits up right in her crotch, okay, and rake our fingernails over them while she sang Hallelujah. I don't know. It didn't seem sexual at the time, but as I look back, it seems even less sexual, which is confusing, because why were we even there? What are you doing? Young lady, what are you doing? You jerking off, baby? Sorry. On to the main challenge. I am paired with Mrs. Kasha Davis. Now, the first time we worked together did not work out very well, but I have a feeling that we are gonna get it right this time. And we do almost perfectly well. So we come up with a little backstory that she's from Atlantic City and I'm from South Boston, which is funny because we're twins. This was also the most physically challenging challenge. We are literally attached at the pussy. This was so fun. I was a little nervous because I get nervous, but this was a really, really, really fun challenge. Every opportunity I get to be ugly, I take because it's a way to set myself apart. Plus, I love looking ugly. Typically, the makeover challenges, not that great because you introduce a whole new cast of characters that nobody really cares about. And then all these forced storylines that don't really go anywhere. But bringing back the eliminated queens, we know these characters were invested. They have to earn their ticket back, right? You can't get a free ride without a second chance. Yes, but you gotta put the work in. Bianca Del Rio is Bob the electrician of drag. Bianca Del Rio is my uncle. She's my uncle. Maybe if you follow me on Twitter or you're a fan of these videos, you might notice that a lot of my humor does not necessarily come across on the show. That is my fault. That is not the editor's fault. That's not RuPaul's fault. It's not Christina Applegate's fault. It has nothing to do with Janis Joplin, Janice Dickinson, Jimi Hendrix, or Martha Stewart. It is completely my fault. If you're talking to RuPaul in the workroom, if the truth is not funny, make it up. Don't ever tell the truth. So she comes over, she reaches under the table, and she pulls out a remote control, and she presses play, and I look around, there's no TVs, and then the pit crew wheels in a TV that's made out of like straw, like the hula skirt material. So she presses play, and on the screen is me in the final episode doing the group choreography for the final song, except it's not a top three because there's only two other people, but they're not people, they're little piglets dressed as RuPaul with the great lace front hairdos, and we're all going oink, 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 oink. Oink, 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 oink. Ru leans into me, but she presses her whole body against mine. She nuzzles her forehead into the crook of my neck and she says, that's gonna be you in 5 years. So I brought him back to my apartment and I said, you need to take your pants off and then I'm gonna put them in the freezer. And he was like, no way. I would lay like stomach down on the bed and then pull the covers up to my lower back and like kind of just like perch my little butt in the air. I regret not realizing my potential when I was involved in the Catholic Church. I would like just kind of like coyly wait for the devil, who would always be wearing like a business suit with his tail like coming out of a rip in the back of the suit. And he'd come in with a briefcase that was on fire. And then we would just, when I had to make the sacrament of confession, I just went on and on and on about how I wanted to get fucked by the devil. And the priest was like, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. And we were there for like 45 minutes. He's like, but then what happened? Oh God, the Catholic Church is so problematic. Okay, if you've ever been to a Jimmy Buffett concert, you know that life is terrible. I love Ross Matthews. I love him. I think he is funny, naturally funny, but doesn't make it all about him being funny. I think he's engaged, he's critical, he cares about us. He's a wonderful, wonderful judge. Nelson Ellis, on the other hand, worst ever. He is not gay, he is boring. Once you stir the pot, what do you have at the end of the day? Quiche. So this episode ends in the way that everybody wanted it to end, except a lot of people. Justice for Trixie has been served. I'm bummed that we didn't win, but I'm also really glad that Trixie got to stay. So it's a win-win. It's a win-lose. They won and I lost, but I also won because you get what I'm saying. It's a win-lose-win. It's a win-lose with a win and with a hidden win. It's a open win, an open lose, and then a closed hidden win. It's a hidden lose. My neighbor is in the Air Force. So this week I'm safe. Stay tuned for next week because you never know what's going to happen on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7 or in my personal life because I make a lot of bad decisions. Shame. More shame. Hi, Nancy. How are you feeling today, Mom?